And thank you for the Irish translations. It's quite moving for me to find all these absent animals with new presence in the Irish language. The Labrador duck. Almost nothing known about it, though it spent its winter months by New York City on the North Atlantic coast. Tender lateral flaps protruded from a flattened bill, likely for feeling prey beneath the waves. Shellfish, crustaceans, mollusks, lamella in lower jaw to sieve the sand when burrowing. Drowned on hooks, fishermen hauled in with their catch. On the markets of Manhattan, Brooklyn, Baltimore, Philadelphia, its flesh disesteemed, festering unpurchased for its fishy taste. Nesting grounds never located, no one knows why they died out, though they probably, like other ducks, slept with one open eye. The last Labrador duck surprised December 12, 1878, Elmira, Southern Tier, New York, a hunter's rifle blast. From autumn 1875, Long Island, the last corpse to be preserved, wears a plastic bag upon its head, sheds feathers now when touched. The passenger pigeons. Sitting at the windowsill, glued to the window pane, your cat eyes to the pigeon on the building's eaves. If only you knew how many passenger pigeons once filled the skies. Their flocks darkened the sun for days at a time, from horizon to horizon, one flow of feathers, fluttering hearts, bodies pulsing together, closer and closer in seamless strata. Billions of birds, always followed by the next platoon. Dung fell like melting snowflakes. They say the noise of wing beats was like a lullaby. Entire forests served as breeding grounds. Branches broke together beneath the weight of countless bodies. From the Rocky Mountains to the Hudson Bay, down to the Gulf of Mexico, these nomads filled East North America in search of nuts, berries, fruit. When dive-bound by a falcon, they dissolved in angles, curves, and undulations. Evolutions reproduced in their perfection by every new flock in the same place of the attack, the heavens inscribed anew. Although your lips are trembling, you, tiny flustered cat, can no longer see their flight maneuvers with your own eyes. Shot down in huddled masses, slain, devoured, their forests cleared away, no pigeons left. With a single gunshot on April 3rd, 1902, they left the world. The last hanger-on, Martha, died September 1, 1914, at 1 p.m. in the Cincinnati Zoo. I worked on the book these poems are from for 6 years. Again and again I would have written a poem about a certain species, but I would still not be able to let it go. For instance, there's this additional poem about Martha. because what happened to her after her extinction is just incredible. You would not be able to make it up. American Airlines Flight 275. For her first flight outside her cage, Martha ascended 52 years after her death on a passenger flight, packed in a crate from Washington, D.C. The Smithsonian Institution lent her preserved body for an anniversary exhibition to the San Diego Zoo. The journey, according to their deal, was to be completed in the security of a stewardess's lab. So many years after the extermination of all passenger pigeons, a sudden fear of loss. The Philistine. Tasmania was its and its alone, raised, sheltered in its mother's pouch, eschewing no fight, it mostly played victor, hunting in long forays for wombats, wallabies, possums, potoroos, trout. Then arriving settlers from Europe, clear-cut woods for pasture land, drove it away. Its prey-grown scars could open its jaws to 90 degrees, but its bite was too weak to kill a sheep. The sheep industry accused it of this crime. Eradicated for bounty, when Demon's Land Company, colonizing its island, hid its own mismanagement from stockholders in London, bounty rising with the bodies settlers turned in. Soon the government-determined budgets maintained annihilation pressure on Philistines, hosting annual savings as sightings became rare. Also called Tasmanian tiger, exaggerating danger. Alleged vampirism on ovine throats, locking jaws in scholarly literature. Its threats resembled yawns. The final Philistine died the night of September 7, 1936, in a cage at Hobart Zoo, locked from sleeping quarters in winter cold. The government had declared it a protected species 59 days before. Birth of offspring in captivity, a one-time success. The golden toads. Discovered in just a few square miles of cloudy elfin forest in Costa Rica, between crawling boughs, stirring roots, dripping leaves in 1964, unfathomably luminous neon orange gold, posing sublime in unbridled stillness before sex, lived underground, above only in April for a few days of orgy to greet the rain. Males rose first, awaited females, bodies taut. Any movement and advance, the first twitching limb provoked hops and cries throughout the mass. Whoever managed to mount another's back clung on for hours, regardless of rivals' violence. Coincidental lovers left sea foam of fertilized eggs in puddles under roots. Last sighting, May 15, 1989, when for the second year in a row, only one single golden male emerged. nullified by human-spread fungal infection, chytridiomycosis, on a warming globe. And during my research for this book, I kept a list of spread information I found that nobody collects because nobody cares about it, which museums around the world and cities that I might go to one day, the natural history museums own a rare last or second to last body of an extinct animal. Usually those are not displayed in the museum, they are too fragile, also too rare. I was finishing this book, we were already editing it, so basically it was finished near Frankfurt, and I knew I would have a reading in Frankfurt, so I looked up my list and I saw that they had the Bonin Grosbeak. I had written a poem about this bird from the Bonin Islands, and then my list said that they also own one of only two worldwide skins of the Bonin thrush. I knew nothing about this bird, it had just slipped into my list. And I wrote an email to the museum and I asked whether I might be allowed to see those bodies. And the ornithologist responsible for those, for the bird collection of the museum answered me right away, and he wrote, yes, you're welcome to come see them. And then he wrote, in my opinion, though, there is not much to see as far as the Bonin thrush is concerned, because it's so inconspicuous. And on the spot, I decided, without knowing anything about the bird and not knowing if it would even be possible, I want to write a poem about this bird and include it in my book, because it's so obscure and too inconspicuous to even look at. I will read this poem in German first, and so you can hear the original sound, and then in English. An eine Bohnen-Erzdrossel in einer Schachtel, in einer Schublade im Sammlungsraum des Senckenberg Naturmuseums in Frankfurt. Für immer auf dem Rücken liegend, dein Luftkleid zerzaust, eine Flaum breit zu ungekämmt, um im nächsten Moment mit anmutvoller Leichtheit glatt gestrichen zu werden. Dein Schnabel hält still, deinen Kopf trägst du abgewendet, weiße Bauchfedernzärtlichkeit. Als von Kittlitz am 2. Mai 1828 auf Chichijima ankam, erschlug er euch noch an der Landungsstelle. Ihr wart so viele. Den Boden bezog ihr dem Himmel einfach mit ein. 2 Jahre später begannen Walfänger für Schiffsreparaturen anzulegen. Ratten, Siedler gingen an Land, Ziegen, Schweine, Hunde, Katzen. Deine Zehen auseinandergefaltet, zerbrechliche Ästchen. Deine Art ist niemals wiedergefunden worden. To a Bonin thrush in a box, in a drawer, in the collections of the Senckenberg Natural History Museum in Frankfurt. Forever lying on your back, sky skirt ruffled, a fuzz width too unkempt to be smoothed down with a moment's loving care. Beak still, your head turned to one side, white belly feather tenderness. as von Kittlitz arrived on Chichijima, May 2nd, 1828. He clubbered you down at disembarkment. You were so many. Ground for you vast as the sky. 2 years later, whalers began landing for ship repairs. Rats, settlers on land, began landing for ship repairs. Rats, settlers on land, goats, pigs, dogs, cats. Your toes spread apart, brittle twigs. Your species never found again. Thank you.